Hi, I'm Matt. I'm currently trying to not become a slave to the system so that I can just afford to raise a family and kids and then bestow upon them the same values, and then the cycle repeats. In this video, I'm going to go over 4 traps that the education system led me to believe. And as a disclaimer, that's not to say that the education system traps anyone. These are beliefs or ideas that the schooling environment led me to believe. And so I am making this video to myself a few years back. But you clicked on this video because the education system is flawed. In fact, the longer you stay in the education system, the more you might convince yourself to follow a life journey that is mapped out before you, where you're not in the driver's seat. And the more bizarre reality is that the more you become irrelevant in most of the workplace that you thought you were studying for. We are in an age of never-before-seen rates of change. How can an archaic education system teach you the fruits of what this age has to offer or shield you from the inequality that is to come? But don't get me wrong, the education system is actually very, very well suited to lots of people. And if that's one of you, then that's spectacular. So, trap number 1 is you're productive and you know how to manage your time, which is a false belief. I thought I was really productive throughout my whole education. I studied hard, I worked hard, and I did kind of well. And a day or two before the exam, I could cram in a whole lot of information into my brain, and I thought that was really useful. And most of you will be familiar with doing this too. But the secret is that everything in the schooling system is forced upon you. It doesn't teach you how to set and stick to your own deadline. It doesn't teach you how to work effectively and not productively towards deadlines that matter to you. Effectiveness is about working on the right stuff, and the school system allows you to be horribly ineffective. And the workplace for the same reasons. I mean, depending on the work culture of the company you're at, employees tend to work just enough to not get fired if the culture is based upon only receiving attention when you mess up or you don't work hard enough. And the alternative is that employees work to exceed expectation because they know they'll be rewarded for doing so. But this only happens if the company crafts that culture very intentionally. And so chances are you're stressing out and working super hard because you're scared of the punishment. The punishment being failing your prestigious degree or getting fired. But as soon as you leave that environment, you will realize that there is a muscle that has very rarely been trained. And that is setting goals, deadlines, calendarizing, and prioritizing on your own terms. They don't teach you that. And the easiest way to do these things is to introduce stress into your life that is beneficial to you achieving something. Stress that focuses your distracted mind and in fact leaves you feeling amazing and accomplished. You can, of course, force yourself into a deadline. And maybe that means taking out a mortgage on a rental that you've been eyeing out. And I mean, it'll be hard work and risky and expensive, and you're probably going to be leaking cash every month. So you have to work or it's not going to work out. Or you could simply make a deadline by making it public to people you care about or your audience or your business partner or your partner, basically setting a public launch date for whatever it is you're doing or go live for your film. Because now, you really need to get to work because you don't want to risk tainting what might be your only truly valuable asset at this stage of your journey, which is your brand and your reputation as a person or business. Trap number 2 is unknowingly subscribing to the playbook that the system mapped out before you. The schooling system can become a procrastination machine. It is a beautiful place to avoid the uncomfortable decisions, uncertainty, and hard, mostly boring, mentally unstimulating work that you need to do to get where you want to be. Being an entrepreneur is to embrace uncertainty. To get where you want in life, you'll need to spend money and energy on adventures that have a high likelihood of failure, that may or may not bring results. School teaches you to only work if it's going to give you grades and provides an excuse and distraction to not focus on your goals that are real to you. In other words, you're just going through the motions of studying and work life and retrospectively thinking to yourself like, damn, what a bummer that I don't have the time or the energy or the resources to do what I really want to do while I'm in my 20s. So rewrite the story that you tell yourself about your life and craft it so that it will lead you to where you want to be. Everyone tells themselves a story, so you may as well craft it in a way that's beneficial to your life and what you want. So do you really want to work in an office 8 hours a day until retirement lifestyle that comes with the work that your degree will direct you towards? That can be quite a great life, so that's not necessarily a bad thing. Do you want to be forever constricted by time, location, and money? Do you want those to be freedoms in your life? My guess is yes, you would like those things. So if you do want out, you do not want to foster anger and resentment at everything but yourself because you chose to be here and you need to change those habits and patterns as soon as you possibly can. You aren't where you want to be in life because you haven't put in the hard work and learned the skills that will get you there. And that's completely normal. You are so lucky that you get to experience this transformational life journey while you're here on Earth. And none of what I'm saying implies that you should discard your degree or drop out. It just means that you should devote some serious time towards taking actions you think might lead to the life that you really want, and start doing them right now, because you're definitely not going to have more time when you enter the workplace if you're still studying. So you need to be able to set time-bound goals and pursue your vision, and always make big decisions with your vision in mind. Now, I'm not going to go into discussing what your vision might be and how to set that. I'm simply bringing awareness to the fact that your goal setting, work on your own muscle, is probably not as well trained as you think it is. I used to scramble with time in my day and never really know what action to take next and what's important or what to really do when, as soon as it came to me doing my own stuff. And of course, having a clear vision will solve this dilemma if you use correctly. And so actually, let's just chat about the vision stuff. I've tried lots of ways to narrow down my vision, and I keep coming back to two favorites of mine. And that is, what exciting things do you want to bring into this world? These are things that you will need to be willing to build yourself. So if you want to have free global healthcare that prioritizes healthy living and prevention rather than prescription, then that's freaking awesome. But now, do you really want to pursue bringing that reality into this world? That might be pretty tricky. I mean, maybe it's better to pursue what you're good at and then give away the excess to charity, and that helps people. Maybe you just want to teach people about preventative healthcare as opposed to trying to change the whole system that's already in place. The reason I like this question, what exciting things do you want to bring into this world, is because it kind of just skips a lot of questions for me, because a lot of the time the problems that people solve are the big problems that they've experienced themselves in their life. That's certainly how I found my vision. I have some problems in my life, so I'm going to try to solve them for myself and teach and build things that solve them. Now I'm busy and I don't need to think about my existential crisis that I might have, because I'm doing things every day. Another common question is like, what do your friends and family ask you for advice about? That's probably the thing that you know better than 95% of people, and maybe you should pursue that. Or maybe you just have some natural gift in that area and you don't know it better than most people yet. The next question that I love is, what does your dream normal day look like? I've plotted it out a few times. It changes all the time, but it really helps to just jot down, like in a little notebook or in your calendar, what that normal day would look like in your dream life. And you'll be amazed at how grateful it makes you become because of, well, hopefully a lot of the similarities between that day and the life that you're currently living. So you probably aren't too far off. So just live as close to that dream calendar day as you can. I used to have a separate calendar that was grayed out. So every day, if I wanted to, I could toggle it and have a look at what my dream normal day would be. Either it's not going well, or most of the time, I was just grateful that I actually was living pretty close to that. And if you're going to do this, I would in fact suggest that you put little 5-minute events at the start of the thing that you would like to be doing in your dream normal day, because then it doesn't block up your whole calendar and you can have real events and then all the little starts of your dream events before that. There are a few other thought experiments or just ideas that some people like to think about when choosing their vision. There's the Gravestone technique, which is just thinking about 3 things that you'd want engraved on your tombstone. There's the Odyssey plan, which is just asking yourself, what would my life look like 5 years from now if I continue down the same path? What happens if I took a different path? And if money and what people thought didn't matter, would I still go down this path? But I don't really like this question because it's too easy to just fool yourself when answering it. Some people really like the idea of your ikigai, which is the intersection of what you're good at, what you love, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. Kind of cool. Found it really hard. That just made things super confusing because I listed out so much stuff. Most of the time, I find it quite easy to identify what I don't want in my life. But all of these questions are iterative, of course. They're there to guide you right now. That doesn't mean that they're set in stone. This is where you're going. This is what you're doing. And then trap number 3 is you're a machine that doesn't need brain rest and can manage stress however and whichever way you please. Stress, distress, not necessarily eustress, can lead you to tunnel vision. And you can't be creative when you're in tunnel vision. Although the good thing is that studies have shown, and you've probably already noticed either with yourself or with people around you, that this is largely the individual's perception of stress that affects how their creativity is hindered. That's why some people think clear as day when they're under pressure. Although high intensity stress has been shown to hinder creative or brainstorming processes across the board. Maybe you've experienced yourself finally solving some math problem after you dozed off into a dream state on the couch. Or maybe you solved it while having your private shower thoughts daydreaming session. And that's just the default mode network kicking in and reminding you that even analytical problem solving is sometimes best solved by allowing your mind to rest and so being creative. But by not allowing yourself to enter the state, you prevent yourself from solving the problems in your own life that really need to be solved. Problems that, if you did solve, could lead you to the lifestyle you want and form the basis of your own business, which would be your own game. But all you're trained to solve is the question or the task right in front of you. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is that during school and university, there's going to be a lot of time spent where you probably feel stressed out. So identify that and accept it, and then find healthy ways to deal with it. For you, be as simple as just realizing that the stress is okay. It can mean taking box breaths for a minute or two, or meditating or exercising or running. Doesn't matter. But if you are highly goal-driven and you can say to yourself that you deal with stress in a healthy manner, then I believe you're going to the stars. Somewhere behind the scenes, during no small portion of your degree, you're probably thinking to yourself, oh, I can't fail this degree, of course. And I can't fail this degree since I chose to study it because it will make me money. Oh, and of course, the social prestige it provides. And I perceive everyone as expecting me to succeed in it. And I also don't know what else to do. And I don't want to go into the workforce yet. And maybe I'm definitely a bit lazy. But again, if you can honestly say that you love learning about all the nitty gritty, whatever academic stuff, and those are the skills that you want to occupy your mind with, then I'm kind of envious of you. I mean, if you want to become an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer, or an architect, pursuing mastery in that field will give you a massive amount of life satisfaction. This video is for those who don't necessarily want that part. This video is for people like me who didn't realize or just need a refresher that the self-imposed choice to study a degree has led you to deal with incredibly stressful deadlines that remove time in your life that you need to confront your own real problems that you need to solve and become aware of on your own terms. It's strangely comforting to occupy your mind with all the many student worries and social this, that, and stress and studying and sport, all the things that school and work life gives to you. But the thing is, at that point in time, it is your entire life. It's your entire universe. So of course it's important, which is why you, or at least I, stressed a lot about that stuff. And all this stress provides an incredibly convenient excuse to not focus on your dreams and your personal problems. You can combat stress in life whichever way you choose. Or weed, meditation, destructive exercise, just a walk in the park, whatever you choose. Without allowing yourself the time to sift through your own experience, you'll not be able to make connections between ideas that makes you your own problem-solving and finding human being. I'm not trying to give toxic advice because I don't know better than you. I certainly don't know you better than you. But if I had to recommend something on this trap number 3, the only point that I can think of would be to just set a reminder on your phone, a little pattern interrupt that goes off every couple of hours or just twice a day. And the reminder just says something like, take some deep breaths into your stomach, force it to expand and then contract, or, mentally zoom out of your situation. I used to have reminders that were like, is this really important? Am I taking it too seriously? Or just, I had one that was, how is my posture right now? Maybe you remind yourself that you're simply a body with thoughts and worries popping into your head all the time, and you get to decide how to react to them or not react to them. And in the short term, it might be scarily out of your control to decide what pops into your head or not. In the long term, you can kind of slowly mold what pops into your head, but yeah, that takes a really long time. But one of my reminders, which was the most frequent one, was what is the purpose with what I'm doing right now? But when you don't lie to yourself, that ended up being an extraordinarily uncomfortable question a lot of the time. It was almost like having a sort of supervisor looking over you. You realize that you're just organizing your notes that you'll never use in the real world, or that you're just trying to put your head down towards a task that you couldn't care less about, or you're just procrastinating and watching YouTube or whatever. But at the same time, school, a job, whatever can be seen as a stepping stone to getting to where you want to be. So you just need to frame the question in the right way, and it won't be harsh on yourself. But yes, it can be quite a lot to remind yourself that you're working on something you couldn't care less about multiple times a day. And then trap number 4, and I really hope someone here relates to this, that is work hard, be a controlling perfectionist, and you will certainly be rewarded, which is not true. Throughout school, I was a textbook perfectionist. It wasn't always fun, but it did often land me with results I thought I cared about and validated who I defined myself as. I was stuck in a trap where I defined myself by attributes that were ultimately out of my control. Some examples of those things would be like the smart guy, or like the confident jockey dude, or the popular girl, or the cool surfer dude, or the chill guy. chill guy. But if you put labels on yourself like that, it's probably because they rewarded you at some point earlier in life. And if you now recognize that they do not serve you, then consider trying to replace them with ones like, I'm just the guy who works hard on stuff that matters to him. Because now that you're the guy who just works hard and does what matters to him, then you are in the driver's seat. You're in control of a lead measure that guides your life journey. But not only that, since you are now the type of person who does hard work, but again, also realize that he's not a machine, then the corresponding habits that you'll need to adopt to become that person will be much easier to maintain. Let's get back to the lead measure. Lead measures track the critical activities that drive or lead to the lag measure, which is your free time or your net worth or your subscribers and income. Conquering perfectionism requires relinquishing control of most things and focusing on the 20% of the 20% of the 20% that matter. Just compose that Pareto principle as much as you can. Basically, just stop trying to be perfect. Lower your standards, maybe your ego as well, and focus on only one goal. For instance, world domination is probably a good goal. But this is really hard. But if I find that I don't try to focus on like the top 4% of tasks, then I somehow manage to delude myself with way less important work all the time. Not saying I'm good at any of these things. I'm just saying it's definitely not something that university is going to teach you. In a way, university actually rewards you for not applying this rule because you probably have a really strong desire to not mess up and land up failing your degree or doing an extra year. In my case, often the schooling system, rewarded me for taking on the work of others most of the time. Basically being a controlling perfectionist in the group projects so that we did well. But the real world relies you to allow others to do the work, to delegate, because you can simply not do everything if your dreams are big enough. And your dreams should be that big, or else you risk them not exciting you, and then you don't care enough to take action and embrace the fear of change. Most of the time, you are your own biggest bottleneck in your business and in your personal life. Without you, you wouldn't have your own unique problems to solve, I suppose. But that's why it's so important to become aware of perfectionism and tackle it before it hinders you in the real world. But chances are, you probably won't be able to, and you'll need to tackle with it in the real world anyway, because that's how you learn things. You can't pursue this journey by yourself. I've heard things like personal brands and the one-person business model. These are things that are really trendy. That doesn't mean that you won't massively benefit from having someone critique your daily choices or actions or just someone to cheer you on. I mean, imagine at the end of the day, you had to report to insert someone important in your life what you did during the day. Wouldn't you be embarrassed to say that you spent 1 hour browsing YouTube and Reddit for a single inspiration or something or idea to build a new business? Yeah, you would, because you should have just got down to doing stuff. So as a social animal, you probably need other people to support you and help with your execution. I mean, maybe you aren't directly facing the consequences of this right now, but if you do want your personal brand and business to thrive in the social media revolution, then I imagine you understand the importance of hitting that subscribe button right now, or dropping some thoughts of criticism in the comments down below. Because that was a long one. Hopefully it leaves you with taking action and not thinking too much. Happy building.